I'm sure a lot of you guys are probably here for the title of the video, which is something to the effect of activist mommy comes unhinged about something. I basically just discovered activist mommy actually last week. I talked about activist mommy's blog on my podcast. And it was something about prayer in schools, I think. Last week was something about prayer in schools. Give that a watch on YouTube or give the podcast a listen if you don't remember it. It was kind of interesting, I thought. So I figure, hey, why don't we take a look at this woman's Twitter account? Big mistake. Actually, it's got a lot of debunking material, so it was not a mistake. It was a good decision, I think. So let's take a look at it and see what she's got to say. Illinois school votes to force female students to share a locker room with biological males. So I saw this tweet by somebody on Twitter the other day. And actually, you know what? Before I read the article, let me just pull my tweet up. This is the tweet that I sent. This guy, Jonathan Van Maren, I guess, sent this big long tweet thread that basically says, take a minute and watch this. A teenage girl fighting tears because her school board ruled that bathrooms are open to anyone who identifies as a girl. She's terrified that a boy will see her and her privacy concerns are dismissed. She is collateral damage for activists. And he, like I said, he just went through this big old tweet thread about how messed up it is that this girl has to go through all this stuff. So let me play a short clip from this video here.
I feel uncomfortable that my privacy is being invaded. As I am a swimmer, I do change multiple times in front of the other students in the locker room, and I understand that the board has an obligation to all students, but I was hoping that they would go about this in a different way that would also accommodate students such as myself.
All right, that's the clip from the girl who was super upset over this whole situation, that now she has to change. She doesn't know how to change in the locker room with a person in there. It bothers her. So let me just read the response tweet that I gave to this. I said, when I got baptized as a Jehovah's Witness, I went to change to my swim stuff, and I was uncomfortable changing in front of a bunch of 60-year-old dudes. You know what I did? I went to a stall and changed. Your life isn't impacted that much. The trans student's life is. Stop thinking about yourself for 15 seconds and realize how easy it is to accommodate such a simple, straightforward change for somebody who needs it. So that's kind of where I fall on this whole situation, just right out of the gate. That's my position on it. It's obnoxious to me that this girl is having such an issue with the fact that she has to go to a stall to change clothes. What about somebody else in the comments, actually in the Twitter comments, brought up another point. Do you think that there aren't and girls in the locker room with you? You're changing in front of all of these people. Do you think that 10% of the population is part of the LGBT community? It's not just trans people that are in the locker room with you. You don't have a problem with that? What is your problem? What's the issue here? Why are you having an issue with changing? If you don't have an issue changing in front of, then what's your problem with changing in front of trans people? As though trans people are even attracted to girls by default. This is just an obnoxious joke to me. This girl can't manage to stop thinking about herself for 15 seconds. Seriously. What's the problem with going to the bathroom or going to the stall to change? What's the big issue with that? And why do you want to seriously impact this girl's life, this trans girl's life, by trying to prevent her from living it like a normal human lives? You're trying to make her life more difficult to accommodate your wants and needs. So with that context, let's give this blog article a read by activist mommy, see what it has to say. A years-long battle over trans quote-unquote, at an Illinois school district has come to a bitter end. Last week, the board of Cook County's District 211 voted 5-2 to allow confused students at Palatine High School to use the bathroom and locker room that corresponds to their identity, quote-unquote. She put that one in quotes. The school's new policy, according to the Daily Herald, declares that students shall be treated and supported in a manner consistent with their gender identity, which shall include students having access to restrooms and locker rooms that correspond to their gender identity. Let me tell you guys this story. I'm not going to name names or anything because I don't know that the person would want to be outed, but there's somebody in my family who is trans. As a result, I've been very heavily invested in watching things happen in their life and watching how people treat them since they came out with this information. She told me that she has trouble taking a shower. She can't stand to take a shower because she is faced with her body as opposed to what she actually is. That's the kind of thing that you're dealing with. That's the kind of thing that trans people deal with every day. I know of people who have literally tried to cut off because they can't deal with the fact that they aren't displaying as who they actually are. And activist mommy here is doing her damnedest to make this out to be like some kind of a joke. Like these people are just, well, one day I wake up and I feel this way. That's not what it is. These people are having an experience that she's trying to delegitimize. And that this girl obviously doesn't care about at all. Doesn't give a shit about what's happening with this other girl, with this trans girl. She only gives a shit about herself. The policy is largely the product of the efforts of Nova Mede, a transgender girl, quote-unquote girl. Again, delegitimizing. She's a girl. I don't understand why that's so hard to wrap your head around. Why do you give a shit what other people are doing? Just stay in your own lane, and if you don't like what's happening, then ignore it. Nobody's expecting you to be transgender. This person is transgender. This person is a girl. You don't have to delegitimize their life and their identity and their experience because you don't like it. It's like Elizabeth Warren fairly recently was asked a question on the campaign trail. If someone came up to you and told you that they don't believe in marriage, they don't think that people should be getting married who are the same, what would you say? And Elizabeth Warren's answer was something like, that's fine. You go ahead and marry a woman. I'm not asking you to get married. And that really goes to the heart of the entire issue, doesn't it? Why is it any of your business what these people are doing in their lives? It's none of your business. Just stay out of it and let them live the life that they live. Like, you don't have to delegitimize them. You don't have to attack them. You don't have to act the way you do toward them. You don't have to make their life harder for no reason. The policy is largely the product of the efforts of Nova Mede, a transgender girl, i.e. biological male, again delegitimizing, who, according to Women Are Human, the district back in 2017 for the right to use girls' restrooms and locker rooms. At the time, the school provided Mede, now 19, a private stall in which to change, but he, again, calling this girl he, delegitimizing, but he still felt separated and ostracized for being transgender, which he considered an embarrassing violation of my privacy. I'm just like every other girl. I just want to use the locker room. There's nothing different about me, Mede said of the case before procuring representation from the Illinois ACLU. Palatine's biology classes leave something to be desired. Now, with unbearable irony, Palatine's actual female students, delegitimizing still, have lost all rights to privacy in order to appease people like Madej. No, they haven't lost the right to privacy. They can go to a stall just like they used to. I'm seriously, I don't understand what privacy has to do with this whole thing. Like I said before, aren't there like people in there already who are attracted to girls? As though being attracted to a girl is an inherent part of being trans. That's just not the case. Like I'm not understand. Like there's nothing about this situation that logically follows. It's like this woman is just spouting off the most mindless nonsense. Nearly 500 residents, including Madej and ACLU spokesperson Edwin Yonka, attended the board vote, and after a proposal to let the community vote on the policy change in a district-wide referendum. After the vote, Madej told the Herald he was ecstatic about the step forward in progress. Exactly. Only one dissenting student, Julia Burka, was interviewed by the Herald, but her brief statement speaks volumes on the matter. That's the girl we just saw a minute ago, saying she can't be bothered to go to a stall and change because I guess she's unaware that there are already people in that locker room who are attracted to girls. I guess she just did not connect the dots on that. And she can't take an extra 15 seconds to walk 5 feet to a stall instead of making this person's life more difficult. This is a quote from Julia Burka. I do change multiple times in front of the other students in the locker room, Burka said. I understand that the board has an obligation to all students, but I was hoping that they would go about this in a different way that would also accommodate students such as myself. How do you want to be accommodated? How could people accommodate you better? Why don't we give you a different stall where you can just go and be alone in it? Would that make you feel better? When you turn all intimate spaces co-ed, that's egregious, said Vicki Wilson, co-founder of the local group Students and Parents for Privacy, an organization that's been fighting attempts to enact this policy since the Obama administration. The policy, which Wilson calls a joke and slap in the face, also fails to address the inadequate number of private stalls for students like Burka to use. Students and Parents for Privacy urged concerned community members not to give up on the fight. Interesting. So there's an inadequate number of private stalls for students like Burka to use. I would be in favor of increasing those private stalls. If somebody doesn't like changing in front of somebody else, they shouldn't have to. Just go to a private stall and use it. Or wait 20 minutes until everybody else is already done changing and then go. I don't understand what the hang-up is here. I don't get why this is such a contentious... Like, this girl's acting like she's got PTSD over this or something. It's outrageous. I just do not get this debate. If you like what I do and you want to make sure I can continue to do it, you can support me in a few ways. First, you can support me on Patreon. That's probably the best way. But if you want to get something back for your support, you can check out my Teespring. I'm trying to make a shirt design for every cult I've covered. I haven't gotten every one, but I'm working on it. So check it out and see if your cult is up there. Second, you can support me by checking out my game shop. I sell controller, cartridge, and game box stands for every system from the original Nintendo and Sega Game Gear to the Xbox One and Nintendo Switch. So give that a look too. And finally, if you want to support me in some way other than monetarily, you can check out my other YouTube channels. I have a retro game channel where I answer questions like, why does Shy Guy have a mask? And why are CRT TVs the best way to play retro games? I also have the podcast where I talk about stuff I don't feel I can say on a monetized channel. And finally, I have my main channel where I talk about cults. I wish I didn't have to worry about dancing around subjects carefully in the first place, but I chose to do this as a full-time job. So unfortunately, I rely on YouTube's AdSense and on the support of patrons to continue doing the work I do. Anyways, check me out in all those places if you haven't already. Thanks for listening, guys.